Tiny Epic Galaxies.
And the expansion.
Which is game 2 of our Tiny Epic series.
Yeah, so this is obviously about galaxies. You have ships, you're traveling to different planets, and eventually you colonize those planets to gain victory points. You can also upgrade your ships and take on special pilots that allow you to do special things.
Thanks to the Black expansion.
Thanks to the Black expansion. And then you get to discover more of the universe and get bonuses. There's some set collection here and that as well. So that's the overarching theme for this game. So diving into quality of pieces. The cards, again, textured, thick. This seems to be a theme for the Tiny Epic series. You do have wooden shaped ships. They are in, and then the specialty ships that you upgraded to, those are different shaped. So they're all a little bit unique.
Silk screening on the pieces.
Yes.
Except for the ships themselves,
yeah.
But they're shaped. So
is that like a common theme where the main pieces are not silk screened in these games?
So, and then of course you looks like you also got the upgraded mats for this game as well.
So yeah, the base game doesn't come with the mats, but I do highly recommend you get them. They're not that expensive. I think they're $20 a mat, but they really help organize the game.
Yeah, I just like on the Pirates, I wouldn't play this without them.
It really helps with it. Just organization.
Yeah. So, again, I think this speaks to Tiny Epic. I think they actually do pretty good quality of pieces overall in these tiny little boxes. So, I'm good with an 8 for this. What do you guys think?
I give it an 8.
I'm not as impressed with it. I would give it more of a 7, I'd say, on this one. It doesn't have as much of a features as what the Pirates one does.
The only big difference between Galaxies and Pirates, which I hope that they do someday, is player mats for your individual player. Instead of the card size, you can get a player mat. If those are available, I haven't seen them yet. They very well may be. I just haven't seen them.
Yeah, I mean, I think this one's missing a lot of the nicer components that Pirates had. So I don't think it's anything more special.
I don't think it attracted it enough to really knock it down a point because they're very functional and they work well.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to theme. Yeah, I mean, it's traveling the universe, right? Discovering planets, colonizing. This speaks to the Trekkie in me. So I really enjoyed the theme. What about you guys?
I love it. I mean, I think the artwork's fantastic. Every planet on each card is completely unique. The pilot art is completely unique, so there's nothing that's copied. For the exploration deck, all the galaxies and stuff they explore there, completely unique. A lot of work went into artwork and graphic design for the game. So I'm going to score this rather high just because the amount of artwork that went into it. I'm going to give it a 9.
Okay. What about you, Randy?
From a theme perspective, obviously I like space games and space. We played Pirates, we played Space. Those are two of my favorite themes on games. It does capture the exploration aspects. I like that. I assume this is Reaver is a touch or a reference to Firefly, which is kind of neat. But as far as the art isn't real exciting to me. I'd give it more like a 7.5. I think it's good, but it's not great.
I think I'm kind of in the middle of the road. I don't think it's a 9. I think an 8's probably where I'm at for this. The art is beautiful if you like planets, right? Like, it is a bunch of different really cool planets, and it really appealing on the colors and things like that, and all the individual art. There's a lot went into this, and I think it captures a certain feel of going and colonizing and exploring your pilots and your ships. So I think it's captured it, but is it absolutely entrancing? No, but it does capture the feel of it. So that's where I'm at. So moving on to rules. We didn't read the rules. You taught us this one. So how was it?
You can't get much simpler than the rulebook. It's very straightforward. It maps everything out in order and how you play it. You really couldn't ask for anything more other than maybe a small cheat sheet for each person. But I think the iconography is pretty self-explanatory, so I don't know if you really need it. I like with theme. I think they just knocked it out of the park. I want to give it a 9.
Okay. What about? Well,
you read through it.
I looked at it, but mainly so we'll get to gameplay. I'll discuss that. But I didn't see anything that would have put it as a 9 for me. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was bad. I would probably give it more of like a 7 or an 8. I think it was probably an 8.
Okay. I have no inkling, so I agree.
Okay.
Moving on to gameplay. So I already touched base about the few of the mechanics. So basically, you're going to roll the amount of dice depending on the size of your kingdom, which you have a track on your player board to say the size of your empire. And as you increase that level, you increase dice and you increase the amount of ships that you have to travel around the universe. So you roll that number of dice, and each of those icons on the dice, they represent different actions, whether it's moving your ship, whether it's colonizing with 1 or 2 symbols, depending on the planet that you're on. Also, there's 1 or 2 resources that you trigger if you're on planets that have those resources. And then there's also a capital action. So basically, it's a home-based action that the main one is to where you upgrade your empire, but you can add additional ones throughout the game when you conquer planets. So that's the base game, but then they also add, so some of the actions include, so you can use 2 of the dice are of the same kind to buy certain kinds of ships that are available.
Black, by the way.
Yeah, this is additional content with black. So you get to buy a ship, and when you buy one of the specialty ships, you automatically get a special pilot. The cards, though, certain pilots can only fly certain ships, so you have to pay attention to that when you choose out the pilot with its special ability. And then also, as well, as you can travel and explore other areas. Okay, and so the added component to the black is that it includes set collection, and by set collection, it's the number of the same kind. So when it was originally explained to me, it was set. So I thought you had to have 1 of each of the things. No, it's how many of a particular kind. I didn't realize how that kind of played out, but other than that, that seemed to be fine. So that's the general gist of the game. First person who gets 21 triggers the end of the game. Everyone gets equal amount of turns. The game's over. So pretty straightforward there.
One of the key elements to the game, which Randy is going to hate, but I enjoy
Well, I
it.
already hate it. I'm going to talk about why I hate it.
I enjoy it. My buddy Vincent that introduced this game to me initially, he, I think, really likes the mechanic. I think your sister Rhonda likes the mechanic as well. So I think he's in the minority. Is the follow action.
Minority.
So one of the 2 resources you get is like electricity and what's called culture. And culture, the main thing about culture is the follow ability. So you can follow the other players when they activate a die. You can spend a culture to copy that die. So whether it's flight and fly to a planet, or it's gain the resources or colonize the planets, whether it's capital or economy, you can follow any action die. I like the ability because it keeps the game flowing. It's faster that way. And it's almost like a catch-up mechanic, too. So if you're not doing so hot on your roll, you might be able to make up for it on other people's rolls. So I kind of like that.
I didn't realize how powerful that ability was until mid-game. I think that, so it's very powerful, and you should do it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. As much as you can.
It really, almost, yeah. I think it's something that should be a primary focus of, okay, I actually have to build up culture my turn so I can play on other people's dice. And I think it's a pretty big portion of this game. I am actually okay with it, knowing going in it. Like, so as a new player, not realizing the importance of it. And I guess I heard, because you guys played it before, me and you played it later. I didn't realize that importance of that follow ability. You guys had mentioned it. And then when I came across it, I realized really quickly, oh, that is pretty powerful. So going into it, I can't stress enough for new players. If you're playing with other people that know how to play the game, make sure you do your follow. Make sure you pay attention to the follow. Get some culture. Be able to follow people. That's going to be key. If you don't, if you have like half of your play that
you'll lose the game.
You'll lose the game if you don't
follow.
And I think that's very important to stress. And I think this is one of the reasons why maybe Randy didn't like it so much. Did you realize how powerful that follows actions were?
Well, one, no, but 2, the big problems I have with it is that you can, as first player, it gives you a distinct advantage twice in the game. On the first play, if you get your ships to planets that produce culture, when other players take their turn and generate culture, you can grossly increase your culture on your turn, or on their turn. Thus, they get less on their turn than you as a follower get, which is not, in my eyes, an unfair advantage. I know a lot of people disagree with that. From what I've seen back and forth, all kinds of debate on this subject. I think it's broken that you can use culture to follow to generate more culture. And if you took that out of the game, I think it would be a much better game. The other problem I have is the end game. Whenever the last turn, if the first player crosses the 21 threshold, they can still follow. So the other players, second, third, and so on, will not get as many opportunities to follow as the person who was ended the game first. And that seems broken as well.
Well, how so? Because it's about even number of players. So, like, I was first player. I got 5 turns. I'm just saying 5 turns. And he had 5 turns to follow. And vice versa. So it's equal. I should be able to follow after him. Otherwise, he would have gotten 5 turns, 5 follows. But I only would have gotten 5 turns and 4 follows.
Right, but you've already generated the end game. So if you're already
creating
one, you're ahead of
them. In one turn, I mean, he ended up winning, even though I'm the one that triggered end of game.
That's because you didn't understand the bonuses.
Not necessarily. I mean, the following is such an integral part of the game. To remove that from whoever triggered, it would be like, all right, I'm not triggering it. I'm not going to trigger. I'm just going to build up my resources and wait till someone else triggers it. That's what that would end up doing. And I don't think
you can win the game if you do that either.
Yeah.
I think you have to do both. You have to generate it and use it during
your
turn,
I think what you
save enough to be able to use it during other people's turns.
No, but if he says don't trigger, do not trigger, if you trigger end of game, you cannot follow after that. Why would I ever trigger end of game?
I didn't say it. If
I would set myself up where I'm close to everything.
I'm saying once your last turn's done, you're done. Is what I'm saying.
No,
but I personally do not like it. Whether you agree with me or not, it's irrelevant. The fact is, I think it's a flaw.
My thing is if I got 5 turns and if he got 5 turns and 5 follows, I should have 5 turns and 5 follows. If I triggered first, then I would be short a follow. So that means I would have less gameplay. Does that make sense?
I understand your argument.
Okay.
I don't like how it played out.
Okay.
The fact is we had a runaway player in the game, and it didn't feel like it was competitive because on my turn I would roll the dice and somebody else would get more benefit from my die rolls than I would. And I don't like games that do that. We had the same thing with Valeria, and I didn't like that. It's the same problem I have with this game. And I know a lot of people do like that mechanic, and it's central to the game, and you can't take it out. I agree. I personally think it needs to be limited in taking out that you can use it for generating culture. And if you do that, I think this game would be much better because then now you're limited on your turns. You can't use it to keep iteratively spawning and doing it again, which is the problem I had with the game.
So he's not saying eliminate following altogether, just following and generating culture.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see the argument there.
Yeah.
I could see that.
So,
but the thing is, you couldn't say generate culture. You'd say generate resource, because then that would get kind of tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the lightning isn't nearly as powerful as.
It helped me more because I remembered the reroll ability,
Yeah.
and I didn't during our first game.
Yeah.
But it helped me win the game because I was able to. I had to spend all my electricity, which she was really happy about because it got her some bonus points.
Not enough.
But I was able to reroll to get the scoring die I needed to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So lame.
Thanks.
Come on, I thought I done so well.
You did very well.
For my first playthrough, I thought I did pretty all right.
Oh, yeah.
He
all right.
He kicked his butt.
So, give it a score. We know yours is bad.
Go ahead. Randy, go first.
What you got?
I mean, honestly, I would prefer Catan to this. So, given that, I can't give it any higher than a 5. The question is, do I go lower than a 5? I really don't think it's a bad game as far as it's not badly designed apart from that one rule. And I think if they were able to do something to fix it, which my understanding is they've released Blast Off, and that they've subsequently limited the ability of that culture die a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. But they still didn't change the rule about generating culture, to my understanding. It's just that you can only apply it to the first 3 dice.
Got it.
So that makes you make sure you
Yeah.
But it gives someone the ability to hide some of the dice and protect them from the other players.
Right. That I think is pretty cool.
So I think that helps with the mechanic, but I'm probably gonna give this a 5 just because I don't think it's fair to go lower than a 5, and I just don't enjoy it enough to make it any higher than Catan for me.
Okay.
What's your score?
No, you get to go first.
No, you get
I'm
to go.
always last, my friend.
Not this time. I brought the game, so you have to score it. That's how it works.
That's not how it works.
Okay.
When are you always last? Where did that come from?
I always make you guys give it first. Generally speaking, unless I know mine. So I actually liked the game. I liked the mechanisms in play. I sometimes I felt like stupid follow, it would be interesting a way to save some of those die. Like, I think that would be an interesting play on it. But the game as it is, honestly, I didn't need the expansion. That's another piece of it that we didn't really talk about, is I almost felt like the expansion, I don't know. It didn't feel integrated to me. It felt very separated, and I didn't. And this is that's actually the reason why I ended up losing, is because I didn't understand like the set collection piece of it. I just didn't feel like it was needed. I felt like it was just there floating in the wind. I don't know. If we're talking, so I'm kind of torn. I actually really enjoyed it. Will I play it again? Absolutely. I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay.
It's a good game. It's a solid game. I don't have anything. I'm fine with the base game. I'm not sure I'm in love with the expansion. And I think that would be my clarification on the 7.
Okay.
But without not playing, since I haven't played just the base game, I don't want to separate the two. But
this is my favorite Tiny Epic game. So Tiny Epic, Galaxies is number 1. One that I will probably have to borrow from a friend to play and do on here is Tiny Epic Westerns. It's my second favorite. But this is by far, hands down, my favorite of the series for many different reasons. It's easy to learn. I think it's easy to teach. It's got a lot of scoring mechanisms, which is always fun. The art's fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. I want to give it a 9.
Okay.
I really like this game.
So, wide variety of opinions on this game.
Yeah.
So I really think it isn't going to be about personal preference on this one. So you guys are going to have to play and see. How would you rate the game? Tell us.
Let us know.
Let us know. What's your rating? What are
If you agree with me, say something. If you agree with Randy, don't worry about it.
And then if you think I'm awesome, tell me. It's
Yeah.
fine. Like, it's cool. But again, thank you guys so much for joining us. We had a blast tonight and hope you would want to join us again. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. We'll hang out some more.
I think our next game is going to be Tiny Epic Dinosaurs.
For the Tiny Epic series.
For the Tiny Epic series, which will be my next pick. Which
Well,
will
that's
be
really up to me because it's what order
or
I
three
post
games.
the videos, right?
That's true. But the next game that was my pick will be the Tiny Epic Dinosaurs. The designer is the same as all Tiny Epic games, Scott Holmes. Artist is William Bricker and Benjamin Schulman. BGG rating 7.4. And again, base game is only $25 MSRP. And you get a lot of game for $25. It's just such a good value. But that's it.
This is a really good value for the game.
Yeah.
I will say that. Knowing the MSRP, it's worth it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Have a good night.
Right.
Come join us again.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.